Welcome to The Sound, KQAL FM's weekly behind-the-scenes look at Minnesota-made music. From writing and recording to distribution and promotion, The Sound is your source for new releases and exclusive interviews from Minnesota artists. Support for The Sound is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Rolling. Tonight on The Sound, we get a sneak peek at the new album from Loudmouth Brass, titled Louder. Loudmouth Brass is a 7-piece brass band that will get you up on your feet, stomping and grooving to the beat. Yeah, I know, cheap rhymes, but seriously, these guys are good, and whether on the stage or marching in the street, their shows are always a good time. I'm Bill Stoneberg. Turn it up as we check out Louder, the latest release from Loudmouth Brass on The Sound. That was Oil and Water. That is off of the new release by Loudmouth Brass Band. Their new album, Louder, comes out July 31st. That's this Friday. And they're doing a CD release party at Thistle Brewing in Rochester. Loudmouth Brass Band, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
For sure. And the great thing is I just saw you guys. I saw you guys play a Dine Out downtown in Winona, where you marched through the street. I also saw a video that Tyler Ogg made of you guys kind of marching in Rochester. Is that something you've been doing these days to provide music where we have to social distance and there aren't a lot of venues open? Can we see more of that?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, well, we're able to. We're not tied down, like an electric guitar or whatever, to a stage and to electronics and a power source. So we're really set up well to just take the music to where people are and, play in the streets or whatever. So it's an advantage, I guess, of our instruments.
Right. And, I've seen a couple things like that. I know Mike Munson here in town he's done some yard concerts, things like that. So it was really great to see you guys out and about and providing some music, because I think we're all kind of starved for it. Speaking of which, new album coming out this Friday, July 31st, called Louder. So how long has this album been in the works here?
Well, this is John Severs, a trombone player, for all you guys out in Radio Land. Been in the works for a little while. We actually recorded it last fall, and then we've kind of been hanging on to it for a little bit, and we had a friend from Winona, Andy Bauer, actually mastered it for us, and we actually recorded it in Winona too, at St. Mary's in Studio S with Eric Wakershoven and his whole crew there. And we've kind of been sitting on it a little bit since last fall, and then of course COVID hit, and it was hard for us to even get together. Finally, when the weather warmed up, we were able to have some rehearsals outside in the yard. And then we're actually kind of at a confluence of events in the band where our current tenor saxophone player, Ryan Donahue, is heading off to Washington, D.C. to start a job there. And we just got our trumpet player, John Knudsen, back, who's been out west for a while here. So we just kind of have about a 3 or 4 week time period where we could kind of do the release and do a couple of socially distant shows and make some things happen while we still have the current lineup. So it's taken us a while to get it out, and now we're trying to get it out while we still can.
Right, right. Well, it sounds like just the right things had to come together, you know. Um,
Yep.
and it's a great album. Good time. I heard you play some stuff tonight. Why don't we get back to the tunes and play some more for folks? This next one is from the new album Louder from Loudmouth Brass Band. That comes out this Friday, July 31st. And if you want, drive up there and check them out. They're going to be at Thistle Brewing for their CD release party that night. So here it is. This is Horizons from Loudmouth Brass Band right here on the Sound on 89.5 KQAL Winona. That was Horizons. That's from the latest album, Louder, from Loudmouth Brass Band. And we have Loudmouth Brass Band in the studio with us today. Their album comes out this Friday. Guys, we talked about, you did a couple marching gigs this summer so far, which is great during COVID, and so we can all socially distance and get out and see some live music, since that isn't happening a lot lately. You also did a floating concert last September here in Winona. What was that like? That seems really cool. I'm really disappointed I missed it, but what was that like, floating on the water and playing?
Yeah, this is Becca, plays sousaphone, Loudmouth Brass. It was an awesome time. It was a beautiful day in early October. But it was just a fantastic day with the beautiful bluffs and the Sugarloaf natural beauty of Winona while we were playing. That was a fun show.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Anything else? I mean, you've done a couple cool things like that, like floating concert, marching concert, which fits you guys well. Anything else interesting and unique that we might see in the future here?
Well, our next show definitely is going to be, we're trying to rent some helicopters, and then we're going to bungee jump off of the helicopters with our instruments and put on a show that way. We're just kind of working on the insurance rider to make sure we can get all the pieces in place for that. So that's what you're seeing from us next. It's going to be awesome.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. That should be cool. The next tune, I want to get back to some tunes, but before I do, I want to kind of talk about it. You have a song called Productivity, and it did appear in an instrumental form on your 2018 EP, Loud and Proud, but this time it's a little different, and it's got Topo on it. How did that all come about? How did you add that element to it? Why? What inspired it?
Well, Topo is a friend of ours who lives in Rochester now, but used to actually be here in Winona. Did some shows with Topo and the Chemist. That song that you're talking about, Productivity, that was written by our drummer, Nick Novotny, who can't be here right now. But Nick and Topo definitely, were friends, and just wanted to kind of have a rapper on it. And we've actually done a couple of shows, like during Rag Ride down in Iowa City, where we kind of had some guest rappers from the community that we were playing in just like jump up and kind of do their thing with us. And I think we all liked it so much that we wanted to try to capture that kind of vibe on the album. And since Topo and Nick were friends, it just kind of worked out.
Oh, wow. That would be, when you were saying that, I was kind of imagining that. Like, that would be amazing to see people just freestyle with you guys like that. So that happens quite a bit with you, or?
Well, I wouldn't say it happens quite a bit, but it has happened a time or two, and we loved it every time. So, we kind of wanted to capture that somehow.
Cool. Well, I think you really did with this tune. So let's play it for everyone. We're talking a Loudmouth Brass Band. Their new album, Louder, comes out this Friday, July 31st. And here's a tune off that record. It is called Productivity. And you were listening to The Sound on 89.5 KQAL Winona.
Linguistic vision, blinking, you miss it. Admit it, you never listened. Image glistening in the English. I'm insidious, evil, imp you sharing your drink with. Productive and seductive, the one you may be in love with. You trusted and busted along, tough enough, having some fun while jumping under sun. Smile wide, spewing, chewing gum. Your duty's done. Old chum, compile files of what's to come. In denial, a simple Gentile wilds out. I find a mile to ride down with wide mouth. A sign of vow to found my desire to fly south. Be so kind and light a fire atop of my house. Show the family where to find us. You know we going in. Loud mouth just like your own next of kin. Now show your teeth, no closed lip grin. Thin, nice about to break through with the horns blazing in.
That is Productivity featuring Topo, and that's from Loudmouth Brass Band. That's from their new album, Louder, which comes out this Friday, July 31st. And you guys mentioned that that tune was written by the drummer. I was kind of curious, like, how does the writing go down usually? Does someone just come up with a part and then bring it in, and do you guys all work on it? Or do you kind of does someone write it all out? I mean, how do you work it out?
Well, that's a great question. A really interesting way of how we approach it. We've all had our own influences of what inspires us for composing music. So a lot of the music that we have is done individually at home, and we put ink to paper, and then after that we bring it into I guess the garage or the rehearsal, and then we all kind of play through the music, and we make small and subtle changes as we go through to really solidify what we want the music to sound like. But we do have another piece that is not on this album called Call to Arms, and that one actually was us just kind of playing around, jamming around, and then we kind of found a feel to it. So you can look forward to that on our next album that comes out.
Nice.
Yeah, I think just the way, this is John Knutson, trumpet player, but I think the way a lot of us are band directors, and we come from a reading music kind of a background. So I think compared to a lot of brass bands, New Orleans style brass bands or whatever, I think the pieces are written out and composed pretty detailed, as opposed to kind of riffing and having a part B. We do this thing part at this section or whatever. So I guess I think the way we approach our music is a little different than some other brass bands.
Yeah, that's. Do you think that maybe you might, like you said, recently you've written one where you kind of just jammed it out together? Is that something that a direction you might go in, or was that really odd to do that, or how did that feel?
I don't think it felt really too odd. It was just kind of a natural progression. And then we were getting ready for a show at Ed's No Name, and we were like, hey, we should put this piece on stage. And so we all just kind of agreed that, yeah, let's open our set with this piece. And then after that, it just kept evolving, and then it just had a real nice natural progression to what the piece formed and took shape into.
Nice. I like that, how it evolves.
And I'd also say, just as with COVID and stuff, I think how we're performing is changing slightly to adapt to the times. Because we don't really have always a stage to be on. People have to be separated and not in a big crowd. Normally, that's we're having to use more memorize stuff, more riff based kind of things, and so that's just the band is adapting to the necessities of the times.
Right.
Ken, jumping on what John said there, this is John Severs, the other John, the trombone player. But with the tune that we've developed as a jam, it kind of ends up being a simpler thing than we're able to put together when we make an arrangement. So it's kind of, if you are putting kind of ink to paper and arranging something, you can make a more complex arrangement for more easily, at least. Not that you couldn't do it without putting pen to paper, but it just makes it more easily to make it more complicated.
Do you prefer one method of writing or the other, or is it just kind of whatever fits, whatever's best for the tune?
I kind of feel whatever fits best for the tune. I think with our originals, if it naturally evolves, if we're just kind of jamming out, or if we have an idea that we sit on for a while, like individually sit on for a while, then in our own heads, we cultivate it and we grow it, and then all of a sudden it becomes a full-fledged song.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Well, maybe we should get back to some more tunes here. We are talking to Loudmouth Brass Band here, and their new album, Louder, comes out this Friday, July 31st, and we're going to play a tune for you right now off that. It's called Trombot, and here it is. This is The Sound on 89.5 KQAL Winona. That was Trombot. That is a tune from the new Loudmouth Brass Band album called Louder, and that comes out this Friday, July 31st. I've got Loudmouth Brass in the studio with me today. You guys, so you talked about your writing a little bit and your writing style and, how it kind of changes and how it's evolved for COVID. Trombot, how did that tune come about?
So Trombot's actually a tune of mine against John Sievers, and it's a song that has kind of been hanging around for me for a long time, actually even before Loudmouth Brass got together. And it was a song that I played sometimes with another band that I'm in, which is more of a jazz band called the Sievers. And I kind of just thought, I like that song. I'd like to make a new arrangement of it that would work for Loudmouth Brass. So I did, I just took something that had been more of like a head chart with chords and instead turned it into something that was more individual parts and more suitable for Loudmouth Brass. So the idea of it came to me when my neighbors across the street were throwing away a whole bunch of CB radios, and I was just kind of walking by, and I always kind of have a thing for finding cool stuff that people are throwing away. I used to work in a landfill for a lot of years, and I saw these CB radio parts, and I was like, there's got to be something cool I can make with these, and I just grabbed a handful of buttons and dials and stuff, and I actually put together a little robot-looking thing, and my sister had just sent me for my birthday a light-up pin in the shape of a trombone, so I hot glued that to its hand and had this little trombot guy that's kind of a mascot for me. And that's what the song is kind of based on, is that little guy I put together from my neighbor's CB radio.
Nice. I like that. So there actually is a trombone out there, huh? Are there photos we can see online or anything?
There are some photos, yes. I'd be happy to share one with you, because the more trombone in the world, the better it would be.
Definitely. Maybe they'll multiply. Maybe more trombones will start showing up out there. You never know, right?
That's kind of kinky, but okay.
Let's get back into some tunes. So we're talking to Loudmouth Brass Band here in the studio today. Their new album, Louder, comes out this Friday, July 31st, and they're playing a CD release party at Little Thistle Brewing in Rochester. So here's another tune off that album. It is called Lipstick, and you are listening to The Sound right here on 89.5 KQAL Winona. That was Lipstick. That's from Loudmouth Brass Band's new album, Louder, which comes out this Friday, July 31st. And I have Loudmouth Brass Band in the studio with us today. So, guys, this album just came out. COVID, it's kind of hard to do shows, as we've talked about already a little bit. You guys have been doing some cool creative stuff, like doing the marching gigs and stuff, which is really fun for people. Is there anything coming up? Because we know it's kind of hard to plan these days, and shows are getting canceled. Some things are going, some things aren't. Do you have anything planned?
Well, one way that we're dealing with the new situation is, we're trying to take outdoor shows for sure, because it seems like that's the safest thing to do, I guess. So, for instance, like on our album release show on the 31st, it's going to be outdoors. And then, in case the weather doesn't cooperate with us that day, we've also set up a second date as a rain date. So, like, the rain date will be August 2nd. And then, that gives us two chances to make the show happen, but still keep it outside. And we've got some other shows like that where we're trying to, organize something outside and then come up with a rain date for it. We got a show coming up on August 7th, also in Rochester, where most of us are from, for the Jazz and Left Field Fall series there that's going on at the Castle. And again, rather than doing it inside the castle, we're going to be doing it outside. The plans for that are a little bit, not static, not perfectly laid out right now. But it's looking like we may be able to do that in a city park that's right close to the castle instead, and again have a rain date. So that way we can still hopefully make some music. I guess the thing that, for me as a regularly playing musician, that I'm really worried about is I'm wondering what's going to happen this fall. I've got a lot of friends who are in like the music production industry and who are musicians themselves, and I just wonder, how are we going to keep doing shows? Of course, we can stream things, and that's something that Loudmouth Brass has done too. We've streamed some shows. but it's just not the same as like a live music experience. So I guess, I wish I had the answer to that, but I don't really. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
Right. What's the best way for people to find out? Like, should they go to Facebook, or do you have a website with a calendar, like when things do come up?
Yeah, Facebook is probably the best right now. We're just popping up events on Facebook, and, if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you'll see when our shows are coming out. That's probably the easiest thing to do.
Okay, great. I would highly recommend checking these guys out if you're out there listening to this. Highly energetic shows, whether it's on a stage or a street, so check them out. We are talking to Loudmouth Brass Band. Their new album, Louder, comes out this Friday, July 31st, and we're going to play another tune from that album for you. This is Brassicle, and that's off of their new album, Louder, which, like I said, comes out this Friday, July 31st. Check it out right here on The Sound, 89.5 KQAL, Winona. That was Brassicle, and that's off of Loudmouth Brass Band's new album Louder, which comes out this Friday, July 31st, and they're having a CD release party at Little Thistle Brewing in Rochester, and they are in the studio with us today. So you guys have physical CDs, and I'm sure there's downloads. Are you guys on Bandcamp or anything like that? Is there a place to download the album to, or should we just order it? What's the best way to get a hold of it?
So if you want to get a physical hard copy of it, just hit us up online, and we could get one to you. It's also going to be on all the different streaming services that you want. The only way to actually get the CD is just like through us at a show, or like get the touch with us on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But if you're on Apple Music or basically any streaming service, you're going to be able to find it. We did CD Baby for this digital distribution. So everything from YouTube to things I've never even heard of will be covered by that right. CD Baby digital distribution.
Okay. So, go out and find a show where these guys are playing. That way you can get a physical copy. So, we are talking to Loudmouth Brass Band today and checking out their new album Louder, which comes out this Friday, July 31st. They are having a CD release party at Little Thistle Brewing. So get up there, get the album, check out the show. And thanks so much for being on the show today, guys.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
For sure. And we're going to go out with another tune from the album. This one is called Overdrive. And this is from Loudmouth Brass Band. You are listening to The Sound right here on 89.5 KQAL, Winona.
Thanks again to Loudmouth Brass for joining us tonight on The Sound. For more information on Loudmouth Brass, follow them on Facebook or Instagram. For more deep dives into local and regional albums, tune into The Sound every Wednesday night at 6 right here on 89.5 KQAL. I'm Bill Stoneberg, and we've just heard from Loudmouth Brass with their latest release, Louder, on The Sound.
Thanks for listening to The Sound. The Sound is produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us online at kqal.org. Theme music for The Sound provided by Mike Terrell of Fires of Denmark.